You are listening to the Objects of Affection collection. Study 12. Mark Rothko's Custodial Strategy, Narrative Control as Post-Luxury Conceptual Functional Art. Rothko's Philosophical Dissent as a Case Study in P.L.C.F. Mark Rothko's celebrated artistic career, often superficially viewed through the lens of pure abstraction and color theory, was in fact a lifelong project of intellectual and social protest. His work and public actions were not simply aesthetic exercises, but a continuous form of dissent against what he saw as the deteriorating values of the modern world. For Rothko, politics did not refer to partisan affiliations, but to a profound concern for the social and ethical function of art itself. His protest was a fundamental challenge to the prevailing norms of the art world, namely, the rise of formalism, the commodification of creative expression, and the superficial consumption of art as mere decoration or a marker of status. This report argues that Rothko's attempts to control the narrative surrounding his work were direct manifestations of his profound moral and philosophical convictions. These acts of control, from his detailed writings and interviews to his specific curatorial directives and his dramatic withdrawal from lucrative commissions, were designed to protect the integrity of his work. These measures were imperative to ensure his art would be understood on his own terms and to reclaim its intended power to elicit basic human emotions in an intimate, confrontational, and transcendent manner. His singular devotion to the narrative of his creations transformed each canvas into a true example of post-luxury conceptual functional art, P.L.C.F.A. Narrative over material wealth. The protest against commodification. Rothko's philosophical foundation was expressed through a deliberate, anti-formalist abstraction. This was buttressed by a series of precise, strategic actions designed to control the narrative of his oeuvre. The core of his P.L.C.F.A. ethos rested on the principle of stewardship over ownership, placing the value of the philosophical idea above the transactional value of the canvas. This intellectual and physical protest was aimed at compelling a profound, intimate engagement with his work, rather than facilitating its casual, commercial consumption. The Seagram Murals, a statement of integrity. The Seagram Murals Commission stands as the defining monument of this integrated practice. His withdrawal from the project and subsequent donation of the paintings to a public institution were not a failure, but a masterful act of narrative control, transforming a commercial opportunity into an enduring testament to his moral integrity. By paradoxically leveraging the commercial system to gain the power needed to defy it, Rothko ensured that the Seagram Murals would forever be seen as a statement of protest against the commodification of art. His extreme somberness was a stark contrast to the celebratory nature of a high-end restaurant, actively rejecting the typical function of luxury goods. Utility as concept. The curatorial directives for intimate communion. Rothko's use of very large pictures was a strategic decision to create an intimate and human experience and force the viewer to feel dominated by the canvas. His work's function was to compel a profound, intimate engagement, transforming the gallery into a secular chapel. His curatorial directives, close viewing, dim light, were a form of physical and psychological protest to enforce his vision. In this sense, the paintings were designed as functional art objects whose utility was to facilitate a participatory ritual for the viewer. Eliminating obstacles. The strategic absence of titles and frames. Rothko's insistence on the absence of titles and frames was a deliberate act of control. By refusing to label or encase the canvases, he eliminated external obstacles and distractions that could interfere with the viewer's emotional response. This debranding as authenticity was a continuous act of artistic dissent against the prevailing critical orthodoxy, forcing the viewer to confront the raw power of the conceptual meaning embedded in the work, rather than relying on art historical or market-driven context. A legacy forged in dissent. The Custodian's pledge to P.L.C.F.A. Rothko's protest was a multifaceted campaign to preserve the sanctity and power of art. His directives continue to shape how his work is experienced today, ensuring that his art is seen on his terms. This enduring control, a legacy forged in dissent, is his final and most powerful statement. He should not be viewed merely as a master colorist, but as a pivotal public intellectual and a moral voice who used his art and his actions to champion the profound and transformative power of human emotion and integrity in the face of an increasingly commercial and detached world. This is the ultimate example of a custodian dedicating their life's work to the principles of P.L.C.F.A. Authored by Christopher Banks, anthropologist of luxury and critical theorist. Office of Critical Theory and Curatorial Strategy, Objects of Affection Collection. This has been a study from the Objects of Affection Collection, a critical art research institution operating under the framework of post-luxury conceptual functional art. Read the full research at objectsofaffectioncollection.com.